this company has been such an integral part of my life for 2 decades. And when I'm listening to the presentation with Mr. Mays or hearing the testimonials, I'm sitting there and I'm putting myself in the mindset of what I would be thinking if I was brand new. I'd be excited like I was the very first night I heard it, and I'd be dreaming about what would be possible. But what I didn't have when I got started in this business was the right thinking. And so my role is to talk to you all about how to think about what you have. And I'm going to share my screen right now. And all I want you to do as I go through this is really pay attention, because, you know, when I started this business, I was in the pharmaceutical industry. I had a good career. I mean, I had a great career. However, the rules of that industry and the rules of entrepreneurship were completely different. And so there's entrepreneurship, and then there's an ASEAN business, which is in a completely different world in and of itself. So whatever you do for a living, I just want you to do me a favor and just pay attention to this so that we can get on the same mental page about this business. So the first thing is, if you see the concept and the concept makes sense, run with it. I mean, you're going to launch your online storefront. When you get your online storefront set up, everything is going to be there for you in terms of walking you through the process of what you need to do. You want to update your information to personalize your website so that when your customers are going to that website, they know that it's unique to you. Mine is very, very simple. It's James Adler. That's it, right? So you want to have that personalized. But on top of that, there's a little bit more. And with the more is that you need to understand why you're doing the business. You know, for me, we all have different whys. You know, I think fundamentally, though, there are some reasons that are very, very similar. I think fundamentally, we all have some things that are important to us. Time with family. I know that for me, this world, the shift that's happened for all of us has really put in perspective the values of family, right? Well, maybe you want to have more time with them. Maybe your goal is to pay off some bills. Some people have bills that have been lingering on for a little too long, like way too long. Like, you know, Christmas 2017 still being paid for, that is a problem. You want to like handle that, all right? Maybe you have a desire to set up your children for their college education. I don't know if you looked at the numbers right now, but it's very serious, right? Maybe you want to help parents out. Some of you have family members that you want to help out, and you want to, if you had a little more breathing room, it'd be a little bit easier to do that. How about a vacation? Guess what? Let me tell you what's going to happen. Right? When we're all allowed to leave our homes, okay, there's going to be a flood of people trying to go anywhere but the house. Like going to the grocery store is going to seem like a vacation, but maybe it's a vacation, something that you want to do. You want to have a celebration. We are in the clear vacation, whatever that is. Some of you have charities that you know need your help. Like we work with the Ronald McDonald House Foundation as a company. We work with Project Feeding Kids, but maybe there's charities outside of that that speak to your heart, and there's things that you want to do. Well, additional income can help you do that, right? So, but you need to know why. And when you get your business started, you need to have the right mindset that you've made a decision. You know, when I talk to people about the business when they're first getting started, a classic phrase is, I'll give this a try. And I understand why people say that. People say that because they don't really, everyone wants to win an ACN. Everyone wants residual income. That's just why, like if you invest in a business, you want to be successful in the business. Sometimes we use the word try as like a preamble to a disappointment that we don't want to have happen. Like, I don't want to like get all excited and ramped up and not have it fulfill its purpose that I think that it could. Let me tell you something, right? When you make a decision, you are so powerful. Like decision comes from the word kaidir, which means to cut off. So like decide, pesticide. Like when you use decide and side in that word, you're cutting off alternatives. So when you make a decision, I'm going to win, period. I'm going to build my customer base, period. I'm going to build residuals, period. And when you come to a business with that mentality, then you're excited for the learning curve. You know, when I got started in the business, I couldn't get on enough trainings. I was sneaking into meetings of other leaders. I snuck in meetings with Mr. Patrick Mazer. He's like, we're having a team meeting. I'm like, I'm part of the team. Like I was sneaking into his lobbies. I was overhearing the conversations. Why? Because I just wanted to learn what they were doing. I figured if you have the top people that are going to teach, I want to hear what they're doing. What I thought was so crazy about today was I feel like this is like the Ace and Avengers right now. Like you have so many phenomenal people that are going to train you today. I can't wait to hear the compensation plan that's about to come up in a moment, but you have so many incredible people. So you got to give yourself time to learn and understand, like in anything in life, there's an emotional roller coaster. You're going to have amazing days where you feel like you can do no wrong in ACN. Then you have days where you feel like you can do no right in ACN. That's called life. That's called life. You've never not in your life been on an emotional roller coaster. Life itself is an emotional roller coaster. So be prepared for it. But how you prepare yourself is by having the right mental attitude. You see, attitude is so important. No, it's so funny. I have two younger kids, and we were talking yesterday, and I was talking about the importance of attitude. So we created this. I said, guys, nothing is more important than a positive attitude. And they were looking at me like, okay. And so here's what I did. I said to them, okay, when you guys display an amazing positive attitude, we're going to do something to celebrate. Like we're going to figure something out. We're going to play games, we're going to movies, whatever that is, right? But when you display a not positive attitude, I want you to run around the house. Now they looked at me like, what are you talking about? I was like, they're like 6 and 8. Like, what are you talking about? So one of them did something like, oh, let me see what it's like. Okay. So we went outside and they ran around the house. I said, great. I said, do it again. And they ran around the house and they ran around the house. And by like the 4th lap around the house, they're like, I said, well, how's that feel? And they said, we're tired. I was like, that's right. A negative attitude is exhausting. Positive attitude, get what you want. Negative attitude is exhausting. So in that moment, they understood the difference. Have the right mental attitude. Some people are going to see it and love it. Some people are going to see it and not want to do it. Some will, some won't. So what next? Like you can't be caught up on any one person. I have people all the time that tell me, no, this isn't for me. What can I do? I can't make anyone do anything. All I can do is share the opportunity. If I share the opportunity enough, I'm going to find somebody who wants what I have to offer. Because not everything for everybody. But you can't do that if you have short-term thinking. I didn't join ACN for 30 days. I didn't join ACN for 90 days. I joined ACN, period. I joined ACN, period. Long-term thinking is that. Like long-term thinking is I'm vested in what's possible and I'm going to keep going. And then I tell people all the time, we say never quit. I'd like it to be like proceed until you succeed. Like keep going. Like the process is going to work for you. Everyone's on a different timeline, but don't give up on yourself. You see, you can't say you're giving up on ACN because ACN's been around for 27 years, going 28 years, 27 countries, expanding markets, expanding services. While a lot of the world right now is in contraction mode, we're in expansion mode. ACN as a company is solid. When you give up on something, you're not giving up on ACN, you're giving up on yourself. Don't ever give up on you. You are too important to give up on, right? And the characteristics, I've looked at all the leaders and I'm like, what separates the people that really make it in this company to the highest levels is they have a desire that's second to none. Desire is a powerful word. Desire is desire. It means of the Father. When you have desire, you're releasing what is of the Father into the world. So you want to release your desire into the world and work ethic. Most people have work ethic. It just sucks. It's terrible. Like, they do just enough so they don't get fired. Like, and that is like, what kind of life is that? I see people all the time and they're like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, how are you good? If you could know in a day you could do a little bit more, man, that little bit more mentality, that little bit more compounded over time mentality changes your life. Commitment is doing what you said you're going to do after the mood you said it is gone. Like, remember when you said, I'm going to get up and run, and then the next day, like you didn't feel like it? If you have your commitment, you just like put your sneakers on, just run. Like that's what you said you're going to do. How you feel has nothing to do with it. It's what you said you're going to do. When you're doing these things, though, you have two choices. You could do these things with a negative attitude, like I talked about in my example earlier, or the positive attitude. I love talking to people about what I do. I feel like I have a gift to give people because I'm telling people, you know how many people in the world I've met? Like, I've literally been around the world with this company telling people about residual income. And so many people, number one, have no idea what I'm talking about. And if they know what I'm talking about, they've never experienced it. Like, so when I talk to people, I'm like, I have a gift. So I'm enthusiastic and urgent about it. Like, I love sharing what I do with people. And you need to have urgency. Dr. Martin Luther King calls it the fierce urgency of now. You have to be urgent in your life and have enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, the root of that is entheos, which means God within. When you let your God within come out, people feel it. People feel when you're excited about what you're doing. But you have to understand, no matter how great the message is, no matter how great the opportunity is, you have to understand sorting. And what do I mean when I say sorting? Well, let me tell you something. There are going to be a few different people that are going to see the presentation. Some love it, some don't, they aren't sure about it, some don't love it. You can't change people. But here's what you can do. You can do what you can do. What you can do is make a list. You see, I can do that. I like to focus in on what I can do. I can make a list. I can also not prejudge that list. I can also simply share the opportunity with people and not say, well, oh, they won't do it because they're that, or they won't do it because they're that, or she's too successful, or he doesn't have any money, or like, you can't read a person's heart. If you would have judged 99% of the top leaders in this company by being too successful or not successful enough, you'd have missed some incredible people on your team. Because I know the stories of all the Circle of Champions members. None of the Circle of Champions members would have probably been the number one on your list if you would have used some sort of benchmark criteria. Here's how we look at it. Just give people an opportunity. You see, because when you give people an opportunity, they'll make the decision for themselves. Don't prejudge people. You want to contact everyone. Look, let me tell you something. I feel like a moral responsibility to let people know about this business. I always was passionate about this business. I was always, like, from the day that I enrolled, I've been fired up about this business. 20 years of fire, 20 years of excitement. But I've looked at my life and I've understood that, you know, when I first got started in this company, I didn't know what I had. Like, I just didn't know what I had. Around 2008, when everything happened, I figured out what I had because I watched the entire world change. Now, today, I'm very, very clear. Other people need to have what I have. See, in 2008, I was grateful that I had it, right? But in 2020, we need other people to have it. This isn't like, hey, we're good. Like, we need to give this away to people and understand that for some people it won't be for them, but that's okay. We're just going to give it away and let people decide for themselves what they want to do. Because at the end of the day, there's three types of people. There's the red apple. You ever been to red apple? Red apple juicy. You know, I love Fuji and Honeycrisp apples. That's my thing. I'm not trying to promote. I'm just saying I love those apples. And those people are the ones who are very interested and excited. When I saw this business, I was so juicy. I was juicy, right? I was juicy, all right? I was in. I couldn't get in fast enough. Like, I couldn't get in fast enough. And I got in that night and I started my business. And that's not, and you want to spend your time with those people. 90% of your time, give it to the red apples. Then you have these people that are green apples, right? We call them green apples. These are 10% of the people. They like to think about things a lot. Have you ever bitten into a green apple? Green apple's a little tart. Like, the moment you bite, you're like, you know, like, it's just a little tart, right? These are what we call the green apple tart people, right? They're like, that's what you do when you bite into a green apple, right? These people have a lot of questions. That's okay to have questions, but you have to have a question limit, right? Like, you can't sit for 75 days and answer 7,500 questions, right? You got to give these people 10% of your time, right? Because at the end of the day, they have to come to their own decision making. You cannot have people see what they choose not to see, or you cannot force people to see what you want them to see. They have to see for themselves. But here's a great category we spend no time with: rotten apples. Now, let me tell you something. Rotten apples or brown apples, as you see. You know, as a matter of fact, I think from now on we should change the color scheme of this so it's not a brown apple. Let's just make it ugly, right? Because there's some people that when you give the opportunity to, they're so negative. And you're like, bro, what you mad at? Like, I'm just giving you an opportunity. What you mad at, right? And then they come at you like this is WWE. Look, hey, it's all good. You don't want an opportunity. You don't have to pile drive me. It's all good. It's not for you. Not for you. No problem. Don't spend time with negative people. Negative people will suck the marrow out of your bones and drain your energy. It's just a fact. It's okay. Move on. Some will, some won't. So what next? Can't make people do anything, but you can share the opportunity with people.